A young boy shouts, "Don't get in the car," and the billionaire sees the disturbing truth. Alex Parker stepped out of his sleek black sports car, a grin plastered across his face. The lights of New York sparkled like a million shards of glass, reflecting the lavish life he lived. The gala was as extravagant as they came. Crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, a red carpet rolled out, and laughter bubbling up from every corner. He was the youngest billionaire in the room. But that night, despite the glamour, something felt off. As he scanned the crowd, the atmosphere crackled with energy. Drinks clinked, and murmurs of fashion and fortune filled the air. But then, a sudden scream pierced through the revelry. "Don't get in the car." Alex turned, his heart racing. There stood a scruffy little boy, rags hanging from his thin frame, hair tousled like he just rolled out of bed. Panic shone in the boy's wide eyes, his little hands waving frantically as if he could somehow redirect the course of fate. The boy looked out of place among the suits and gowns, a haunting specter among the wealth. People gawked, whispers rippling through the crowd. "Someone get that kid," they murmured, half amused, half concerned. But Alex, caught up in the moment, merely shook his head dismissively, a smile fading from his lips. "It's okay, buddy," he called back, thinking the boy was just another street urchin looking for attention. He waved it off and climbed back into his luxurious vehicle. Yet, as the engine roared to life, unease washed over him. The boy's shout echoed in his mind, mixing with the delicate notes of a piano playing in the distance. The city lights blurred as a knot tightened in Alex's stomach. What if there was truth hidden behind that frantic plea? He glanced back through the rearview mirror, but Leo, yes, he'd heard someone call him that, had vanished into the crowd, leaving behind a fragment of dread that clung to Alex like a shadow. Guilt gnawed at him. Who was that kid? Why did he care so much? Driven by a strange mix of curiosity and responsibility, Alex found himself venturing into the underbelly of the city the next day. The bright lights dimmed as he surveyed abandoned buildings and flickering street lamps. He met street vendors, patched together groups, and eventually, shadowed whispers led him to Leo. The boy was, surprisingly, a map of hidden truths, tangled in a dangerous web of a notorious gang. The more Alex dug, the clearer it became. His family's name was tangled in this darkness. Every step deeper threatened not only his empire, but the bond forming between him and Leo. Trust began to forge, tempered by danger and secrets that loomed like storm clouds above. As the stakes rose, Alex questioned everything: his wealth, success, and the price of his choices. The warning from the boy echoed louder now, intertwining with each decision. In the hushed moments before a storm broke, would he risk it all to protect Leo? Or would self-preservation win? The clock was ticking, and a sinister game awaited them both in the shadows. Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. As Alex pressed deeper into the shadows of the city, the weight of yesterday's events hung heavy in his mind. He traversed streets that felt like the bones of a long-forgotten beast, where the laughter of the gala was just a ghostly echo. Each step felt more deliberate, his heart beating with a mix of dread and determination. Leo had turned out to be more than just a boy. He was a key, unlocking doors to a darkness Alex never imagined. He wanted to help him, but the further he delved, the more dangerous things got. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught his eye. He turned to see Leo, standing on a sidewalk. Malnourished, but fiercely resilient. Alex felt hope surge within him. He rushed toward the boy, a smile creeping back onto his lips. "Leo, I was looking for you. But Leo's eyes held a strange intensity, something Alex failed to recognize at first. You shouldn't have come back, he warned, his voice trembling with urgency. They're watching. I can feel them. Who's watching? Alex asked, frowning as he scanned the streets for unseen threats. The air crackled with tension, and the distant sound of laughter felt sinister now, as if mocking their predicament. Before Leo could answer, an explosion erupted from a nearby alley. Shattered glass rained down, and Alex instinctively threw himself over Leo to shield him. The ground shook, and a fiery blast lit the night sky, illuminating the chaos around them. Screams sliced through the air, mingling with the screeching of tires, as people scattered like leaves in a storm. "Run!" Leo shouted, pulling at Alex's sleeve. They darted through the chaos, adrenaline propelling them forward. Alex's heart pounded in his chest, his eyes wide with shock. They took refuge behind a worn-out dumpster, catching their breath as the sounds of destruction faded into the distance. "What the hell was that?" Alex gasped, still holding Leo close. "They're after you," Leo whispered, his voice barely audible over the distant sirens. "They think you know too much." "Who?" Panic began to rise in Alex's throat, pressing down on him. It's your father." A chill ran down Alex's spine, the name hanging in the air like a dense fog. "My father? What are you talking about?" Leo hesitated, eyes flicking around as if searching for escape routes. "He's not who you think he is. He's involved in things you can't even imagine," he said, each word deliberate and heavy. The world felt like it tilted under Alex's feet. "That's impossible." His voice broke at the edges. "He's a businessman." Leo cut him off, eyes imploring. "No, Alex. He's part of the gang that runs this city. All those donations? They're laundering money, keeping the streets soaked in blood." The revelation hit like a slap. Alex's vision blurred with betrayal, rage bubbling up from somewhere deep inside. "You're lying. He wouldn't." "Wouldn't what?" Leo pleaded, desperation cracking through his fear. "Kill without remorse? You have to believe me." Suddenly, a blinding light shone from the alley entrance. Shadows loomed larger as figures emerged, menacing and intent. Time froze. Fear clenched Alex's heart. "They found us," he muttered, realization dawning horribly. "Run!" Leo's shout jolted him from his stupor, but Alex stood rooted in place, staring wide-eyed at the approaching figures. A lump formed in his throat. How could everything be so wrong? With his last ounce of strength, he grabbed Leo's hand, and together they dashed into the thickening night. But questions swirled uncontrollably in Alex's mind, each one more terrifying than the last. Was Leo right? Could his father, the man he admired, really be at the center of such darkness? They plunged into the unknown, shadows creeping close behind them, hearts racing, the future uncertain. As the night deepened, the looming question echoed in the air. Just how far would Alex go to face the truth? As they sprinted down the street, shadows hot on their heels, Alex felt a rush of fear and determination surge through him. Leo tugged fiercely at his hand, guiding him through twisted alleyways stacked with debris and secrets. The sounds of chaos faded into the distance, but their hearts raced like jackhammers in their chests. What did Leo mean about his father? A part of him wanted to deny it, to scream that it couldn't be true. But another part of him, the part that had been awakening since he met the boy, yearned for truth, even if it was ugly. They slipped into a narrow crevice between two buildings, panting and trembling. "Think we lost them," Alex whispered, his voice barely a quiver above the wind. Leo shook his head, eyes wide with panic. "Not yet. We have to be careful." Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the alleyway they had just fled. It sent a shiver through Alex. They weren't safe yet. Then, out of nowhere, a loud voice boomed, "Leo!" Both boys froze. A figure emerged from the shadows. A tall man, dressed in a sharp suit. He looked calm, too calm, a predator in the night. "Get away from him," Alex shouted, instinct urging him to shield Leo. "Relax," the man chuckled, the sound dripping with mockery. "I'm not here to hurt him. At least, not tonight." The man stepped closer, and Alex felt the air shift. Leo's body tensed, a sob escaping his lips. "Please, don't listen to him. He's lying." The man laughed again, this time with a chilling edge. "Oh, Leo, you don't even know what's at stake, do you? Stay back. I'm not afraid of you," Alex said, after the briefest moment of hesitation. "Good for you, kid." The man leaned against the wall, crossing his arms. "But you should be. Your father's life. Let's just say it's about to change in a big way." "What does that mean?" Alex shot back, confusion flickering in his eyes. "But truth isn't made of pretty things, my friend. You're standing on the edge of a dark truth, a truth that could shatter everything you believe." Just then, a piercing scream sliced through the air. It was muffled, desperate. It came from deep within the alley where they had just escaped. Time seemed to pause. Leo's face paled as he realized who the scream belonged to. "No, please, not her." Alex's heart dropped. "Who? What's happening?" In that moment, another figure stumbled out of the shadows. A woman, her eyes wide with terror. She looked like she had been dragged through hell. Alex's breath caught in his throat as the realization hit him like a thunderbolt. It was his mother. "Alex," she gasped, her voice breaking. "Get away from him." "What?" he shouted, lost. Confusion twisted in his gut. "Mom, why are you here?" She looked between Leo and the man, her eyes pleading but terrified. "Just go. You can't trust him." Before she could finish, the man took a step forward, pulling something from his pocket. A little silver gun that glinted ominously under the streetlight. "She's not the one you should be worried about, kid. Your father. He's been hiding more than just money down here." The air crackled with electricity. Every instinct screamed to run, but Alex was frozen, caught between the horror of the scene and the shattered pieces of his world unraveling around him. "Mom, what is he talking about?" Alex's voice cracked, went barely above a whisper. Then, with a sudden movement, Leo stepped forward, eyes blazing with a mix of anger and fear. "You need to listen, Alex. There's so much more at stake than you know. You've been a pawn, and now we're all in danger." Everything twisted. Everything changed in that heartbeat. They were no longer just running from danger. They were trapped in it. A dark web tangled around them, secrets like knives waiting to cut deeper. And as the man raised his gun just slightly, the world tilted. What kind of reality had Alex stepped into? What had his father truly created? In that charged moment, Alex felt the walls close in. Would he face the truth, or plunge into the chaos? The scream echoed in his ears. The world waited and the clock was ticking. Alex's breath hitched as his mother's terrified gaze met his. "Mom, what's happening?" "Just run, Alex. It's not safe," she shouted, desperation clawing through her voice. The man raised the gun, but in that charged moment, everything flipped. Suddenly, Leo lunged forward. "No!" he screamed, hands outstretched. "Get back!" A blinding flash exploded in front of them. The gun went off, and Alex felt the thunder of the shot in his chest. But the figure beside him was no longer just a man. The world spun in dizzying confusion as Leo turned, the sound of the gun echoing against the walls. "Leo!" Alex screamed, but the words melted into a deafening silence. A horrific realization collided with his heart. Leo wasn't reaching for him. He was stopping the bullet. Leo staggered back, blood blossoming across his chest. It spread like crimson ink, defying the stark darkness around them. Time froze. Everything went still. The chaos of the night faded. Only the beating of Alex's heart remained, loud and panicked. "Leo!" he cried, rushing forward, but the boy's small body crumpled, collapsing onto the pavement like a marionette whose strings had been cut. "No, no, no!" Alex's hands shook as he held the boy, staring in shock at the blood pooling beneath them, bright and vivid against the gray pavement. "Someone help! Please!" His voice cracked, Filled with terror, the man laughed, cold and empty. You didn't think he was just a street kid, did you? You have no idea who you're tangled with, kid. Leo wasn't an innocent bystander. What? Alex gasped, confusion slicing through his anguish. What do you mean? But before the man could respond, a loud crash echoed from the alley. Heavy footsteps approached. Shadows surged closer, dark and imposing. Alex felt panic clawing at him, like a wild animal trying to escape a cage. His mother screamed again, cutting through the panic. Get away! But her voice didn't register. All Alex could see was Leo's face, pale and lifeless, and the warmth slipping from his body. He cradled the boy closer, feeling the faintest tremor still lingering in him. Stay with me, Leo, he pleaded, tears streaming down his cheeks. Suddenly, Leo's eyes flickered. A shiver, barely noticeable. Alex, he whispered, his voice a fragile thread. You need to know the truth. You're going to be okay. Alex sobbed, feeling each beat, blending with the fading light in Leo's eyes. No, Alex, listen. Your father. He isn't. But the words slipped away, lost in the thickening air as Leo's eyelids fluttered closed. The world shattered around him. The man's mocking laughter echoed like a death knell. Pathetic. Did you really think he was your ally? He was just a pawn in this game, just like you. In that moment, Alex felt a surge of rage, hot and pulsing. You're wrong, he cared. Cared, the man sneered, stepping closer, his gun still raised. You're a fool. Your father used him as leverage. You need to understand the darkness that binds you all. And then, from behind the man, another figure swung into view, a woman with fierce determination in her eyes. Get away from them, she shouted, her voice like thunder. Alex squinted, searching for familiarity, but that's when the truth hit him harder than any blow. It was his sister, the one he thought had been lost forever. Katie, he whispered, hope sparking in his chest, but the question hung heavily in the air. Run! Get out, she yelled, glancing at Leo's still form. Fear and love twisting her features. It's a trap, but it was too late. Time rushed forward. The shadows swelled, a dark tide pushing in. Alex's world began to spin as revelations swirled wildly. What had Leo wanted to say? What was his father hiding? And why had Katie returned just as? Everything crumbled. With chaos closing in, Alex knew one thing for certain. Everything he thought he knew had been a carefully painted illusion. As he clutched Leo and faced Katie, one truth loomed larger than the rest. The game was only just beginning. What would unfold next? Did he really want to uncover the secrets that lay ahead? The world spun in a dizzying swirl of chaos, as Alex clutched Leo's limp body, his mind racing. Katie's fierce presence pierced through the shock. Get back! Now! She screamed, eyes darting toward the alley where the shadows thickened, growing closer. But Alex couldn't move. Katie, what's going on? What do you know? He couldn't tear his gaze away from Leo. The blood soaking into the pavement felt like a tightening noose, smothering him. Get him out of here! They'll come for you next, she urged, panic etched into every line of her face. Then, like a punch to the gut, another figure emerged. A tall man, muscular, with a scar cutting across his cheek. He strolled over with an unsettling calm, each step echoing like thunder on concrete. You think you can escape this, Alex? He taunted, eyes glinting with malice. Who are you? Alex spat, cradling Leo. What do you want? Don't act like you don't know. You're in way over your head. The man stepped closer, tone dripping with disdain. You, your mother, your father, all of you, a family built on lies. Stop, Katie shouted, stepping protectively in front of Alex. You don't get to talk about our family. That's rich, coming from you, he retorted, shooting her a sly smirk. After all, you're the one who betrayed them. Betrayed? Alex's heart raced, confusion knotting in his stomach. What? What are you saying? He felt everything inside him twist. Katie, is that true? Did you? Everything seemed to slow down. The shadows closing in, suffocating. Katie's eyes softened for a fleeting moment, but then hardened resolutely. Alex, I can explain. Explain what? He felt lost, suspended in a storm of betrayal and despair. You just show up and everything's unreal. Leo could die. Suddenly, a sharp scream sliced through the tension. A new voice, a woman's cry ringing through the night air, sending chills racing down Alex's spine. It shattered the moment like glass, sharp and piercing. Alex, help me. His breath caught. Mom. He turned, heart pounding again, but it wasn't his mother. The woman emerging from the shadows was older, yet eerily familiar. She looked like a mirror of his mother, but with darker, more haunted eyes. Help me, she cried again, tears streaming down her face. Who are you? Alex whispered, confusion spiraling deeper. And then it hit him. The resemblance, the voice, the desperation. It was his uncle's long-lost wife, the one everyone claimed was dead. No, this can't be happening, Alex shouted. You died. Yes, they made it look that way. Her sobs echoed around them like a haunting melody. Your father, he buried the truth. Every word clawed at Alex, tearing apart the fabric of his reality. His breaths quickened, panic clawing up his throat. Enough, the tall man yelled, signaling the shadow to close in. They crept forward, dark figures that melded with the night. You think you're safe? None of you understand the game. Alex clenched Leo tighter, adrenaline surging. It was all falling apart, the lies, the hidden truths, they swirled around him like smoke. Katie, help me, he shouted again, desperately seeking a lifeline. But there was only chaos. Then it happened. A sudden flash of movement in the shadow. A light flickering and growing. A loud, thunderous explosion ruptured the night as debris rained down. Alex shielded Leo, instinctually, but the force knocked him back. What the? He gasped, eyes wide with shock. Amid the dust and confusion, a figure emerged, silhouetted by the flames. It was his father, standing defiantly, gun drawn. Get away from my family, he roared, voice booming like a thunderstorm. The world around them shifted again, suddenly redefined. The shadows halted, uncertainty rippling among them. The tall man laughed, eyes sparkling with intrigue. You think you can control this, old man? It's too late. Dad, what's happening? Alex shouted, voice trembling. But before he could finish, his father looked straight at him, the expression chilling, harder than Alex had ever seen. It's time you learned the truth. In that moment, Alex's heart sank. What truth? What game are we playing? But as the smoke cleared, the lies and secrets began to unravel. The memories of the past fused with the impending doom of the present. Relationships twisted, identities blurred. And just like that, Alex found himself standing on a precipice, staring into the abyss, questioning everything he thought he knew. Would he ever discover the real game, or was it all a trap designed to ensnare them all? The world trembled, jagged shards of confusion and despair carving into Alex's heart. His father stood there, gun drawn, but the air crackled with an intensity that felt more dangerous than bullets. Every whispered truth had spiraled loose, hanging heavy in the smoky night. Dad, what's happening? Panic clawed at Alex's throat, desperation squeezing his chest. He looked at Leo, his body growing cold beneath his hands, and then back at Katie and their father, all while the stranger loomed in the shadows. Alex, listen to me, his father began, but the shadows shifted, grinding against the brick walls. Shut up, the taller man sneered, cutting in. You're all just pieces on a board, pawns in a game far bigger than you can comprehend. He stepped closer, eyes narrowing. But tonight, the game changes. Chaos erupted, a deafening siren echoed from a distance. In that moment, the world around them seemed to shift. Windows shattered, and debris rained down like thick snowflakes. People ran in every direction, a stampede of panic filling the streets, as the truth danced like flames around Alex. Alex, focus, Katie ordered, her voice slicing through his dazed fog. We need to get out, now. Before he could respond, Another figure emerged from the haze, stepping steadily into view. A woman with wild, flowing hair and a fierce look in her eyes, a stark contrast to the panic. It was as if the very night had birthed her. When she opened her mouth, Alex felt the ground shift again. "Alex, it's time," she yelled. "You don't know who you really are." "What?" There was a sharp pang in his chest. "What do you mean?" The tall man snickered. "She's lying. You can't trust her, Alex. None of them." "No," the woman shouted, forceful and clear. "You need to listen. It's all connected. Your father. He's hiding more than you can imagine." "Enough," his father roared, voice cracking like thunder. But doubt flickered in his eyes as he stared at the woman. "You shouldn't be here." "Neither should you," she countered, her voice low and dangerous. With that, the atmosphere shifted again, snapping like a taut string. A blinding light erupted from above, illuminating the scene as if the universe itself was watching. Alex shielded his eyes but couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was coming. "Look out!" Katie yelled, pulling him and Leo back, but the blinding light enveloped them, pulsing with a force that made the world spin. When the light faded, everything felt different. The tightness in the air shifted to something softer, almost buzzing. The woman stood before Alex now, a fierce protector, fierce in her determination. "You have to understand, Alex. You're special. You're a part of something incredible." "What are you saying?" He felt sick, his heart racing. She took a deep breath. "You're the heir to a legacy of power and truth, far older than any gang. Your father's been running from it." Her eyes looked wild with urgency. "It's not just about the money or the crime. It's about destiny." "What destiny?" Alex's voice trembled, confusion igniting with suspicion. "What are you talking about?" Just then, the tall man smirked, a wicked glee dancing in his eyes. "You really think it's about bloodlines? There's no special destiny, boy. Your father's been lying, hiding the truth of who you are." In that heartbeat, Alex's vision blurred between reality and chaos, and a pulse of energy buzzed around them, like static electricity. The air thickened, and then suddenly, everything shattered. The woman turned, her face a mask of shock, and in one swift motion, the truth slid through the cracks. "Alex, your mother," she shouted. And Alex felt it, a heavy weight crashing down on him. "What do you mean?" He could barely breathe, words gasping through clenched teeth. The woman grabbed him, pulling him closer, urgency crackling like fire. "It's time to choose your side, the truth of your family, the story that's been hidden for so long. It's about to break open." Before he could even process it, an explosion rang out from behind him. Smoke billowed toward the sky, and with it came the chilling laughter of the tall man, echoing like a death knell. "Choose wisely, Alex. The game is on, and it's about to get very real." Everything spun, a whirlpool of confusion, anger, and fear. The world around him collapsed into darkness, and he realized then with chilling certainty just how much he was about to lose. In that moment, as the dust settled and shadows crept closer, Alex felt a surge of determination. He had to make a choice, to face the truth, and to confront the secrets that had woven all their lives together. But would he be ready for what he might find on the other side? The world trembled, jagged shards of confusion and despair carving into Alex's heart. His father stood there, gun drawn, but the air crackled with an intensity that felt more dangerous than bullets. Every whispered truth had spiraled loose, hanging heavy in the smoky night. "Dad, what's happening?" Panic clawed at Alex's throat, desperation squeezing his chest. He looked at Leo, his body growing cold beneath his hands, and then back at Katie and their father, all while the stranger loomed in the shadows. "Alex, listen to me," his father began, but the shadows shifted, grinding against the brick walls. "Shut up!" The taller man sneered, cutting in. "You're all just pieces on a board, pawns in a game far bigger than you can comprehend." He stepped closer, eyes narrowing. But tonight, the game changes. Chaos erupted. A deafening siren echoed from a distance. In that moment, The world around them seemed to shift. Windows shattered, and debris rained down like thick snowflakes. People ran in every direction, a stampede of panic filling the streets as the truth danced like flames around Alex. "Alex, focus," Katie ordered, her voice slicing through his dazed fog. "We need to get out, now." Before he could respond, another figure emerged from the haze, stepping steadily into view, a woman with wild flowing hair and a fierce look in her eyes, a stark contrast to the panic. It was as if the very night had birthed her. When she opened her mouth, Alex felt the ground shift again. "Alex, it's time," she yelled. "You don't know who you really are." "What?" There was a sharp pang in his chest. "What do you mean?" The tall man snickered. "She's lying. You can't trust her, Alex. None of them." "No," the woman shouted, forceful and clear. "You need to listen. It's all connected. Your father, he's hiding more than you can imagine." "Enough," his father roared, voice cracking like thunder. But doubt flickered in his eyes as he stared at the woman. "You shouldn't be here." "Neither should you," she countered, her voice low and dangerous. With that, the atmosphere shifted again, snapping like a taut string. A blinding light erupted from above, illuminating the scene as if the universe itself was watching. Alex shielded his eyes, but couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was coming. "Look out!" Katie yelled, pulling him and Leo back. But the blinding light enveloped them, pulsing with a force that made the world spin. When the light faded, everything felt different. The tightness in the air shifted to something softer, almost buzzing. The woman stood before Alex now, a fierce protector, fierce in her determination. "You have to understand, Alex. You're special. You're a part of something incredible." "What are you saying?" He felt sick, his heart racing. "Your destiny is not what your father has told you. You are the key to an ancient legacy, one that is worth killing for." Her eyes blazed with the truth. That felt almost like fire. "What?" Alex's mind reeled, a storm of questions pushing against the walls of his understanding. But just as he opened his mouth to speak, a sharp noise, like the growl of a lion, cut through the tension. It came from his father. "Stay away from him." The fear on his father's face was a new shade of terrifying. The tall man was closing in, dripping with arrogance. But then, in one swift motion, the woman pointed her hand towards unbroken shadows. "You have to choose, Alex. It's now or never. Your life depends on it." The tall man laughed again, a guttural sound. "You really think he's going to choose you? He doesn't even know who you are." His words dripped with venom, echoing against Alex's growing dread. "Enough!" Alex shouted, heart racing. But before he could scream again, everything shifted. With a sudden blinding flash, the ground trembled violently beneath them, and Alex felt the world tip as a gaping hole opened up in the pavement. Shadows whirled, darkness swallowing them whole. Then, in the collapse, smoke and flames mixed with the screeching of metal. Every terrifying reality bled into the next. When the turmoil settled, he blinked in confusion. The woman was gone. Instead, standing in her place was Leo, alive but different, rippling with an energy Alex couldn't comprehend. "I made a choice," Leo said, voice deeper, his eyes glowing with an unreal light. "What? How?" Alex stammered, stumbling back, as if the ground beneath him had become unfathomable. But Leo smiled, a knowing grin that shattered everything. "You were never just an heir to your father's legacy. We are tied to a legacy of power and otherworldly vision, a lineage that goes far beyond money or crime." Time slowed. Each breath felt colossal. "What are you talking about?" But before Leo could explain, the night trembled once again, and images flickered before Alex's eyes, visions of untold realms, shadows turning to light, and lives intertwined in ways he had never seen. "It's all connected." And with that, everything Alex knew splintered. The pieces of his world tangled, spinning in a cyclone of revelation. He felt his heart rate spike, knowing nothing would ever be the same. Every choice he thought he had made was a mere starting point. Leo, he screamed, the name ripping from his throat like a final plea. What's happening? Tell me. But as the void around them grew louder, the shadows leaned in, secrets clawed at his mind, and everything spiraled towards chaos, leaving behind the haunting question. Who was he really in this game of shadows? The world trembled, jagged shards of confusion and despair carving into Alex's heart. His father stood there, gun drawn, but the air crackled with an intensity that felt more dangerous than bullets. Every whispered truth had spiraled loose, hanging heavy in the smoky night. Dad, what's happening? Panic clawed at Alex's throat, desperation squeezing his chest. He looked at Leo, his body growing cold beneath his hands, and then back at Katie and their father, all while the stranger loomed in the shadows. Alex, listen to me, his father began, but the shadows shifted, grinding against the brick walls. Shut up, the taller man sneered, cutting in. You're all just pieces on a board, pawns in a game far bigger than you can comprehend. He stepped closer, eyes narrowing. But tonight, the game changes. Chaos erupted. A deafening siren echoed from a distance. In that moment, the world around them seemed to shift. Windows shattered, and debris rained down like thick snowflakes. People ran in every direction. A stampede of panic filling the streets, as the truth danced like flames around Alex. Alex, focus, Katie ordered, her voice slicing through his dazed fog. We need to get out, now. Before he could respond, another figure emerged from the haze, stepping steadily into view. A woman with wild, flowing hair and a fierce look in her eyes. A stark contrast to the panic. It was as if the very night had birthed her. When she opened her mouth, Alex felt the ground shift again. Alex, it's time, she yelled. You don't know who you really are. What? There was a sharp pang in his chest. What do you mean? The tall man snickered. She's lying. You can't trust her, Alex. None of them. No, the woman shouted, forceful and clear. You need to listen. It's all connected. Your father, he's hiding more than you can imagine. Enough, his father roared, voice cracking like thunder. But doubt flickered in his eyes as he stared at the woman. You shouldn't be here. Neither should you, she countered, her voice low and dangerous. With that, the atmosphere shifted again, snapping like a taut string. A blinding light erupted from above, illuminating the scene as if the universe itself was watching. Alex shielded his eyes, but couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was coming. Look out, Katie yelled, pulling him and Leo back, but the blinding light enveloped them, pulsing with a force that made the world spin. When the light faded, everything felt different. The tightness in the air shifted to something softer, almost buzzing. The woman stood before Alex now, a fierce protector, fierce in her determination. You have to understand, Alex. You're special. You're a part of something incredible. What are you saying? He felt sick, his heart racing. Your destiny is not what your father has told you. You are the key to an ancient legacy, one that is worth killing for. Her eyes blazed with a truth that felt almost like fire. What? Alex's mind reeled, a storm of questions pushing against the walls of his understanding. But just as he opened his mouth to speak, a sharp noise, like the growl of a lion, cut through the tension. It came from his father. Stay away from him. The fear on his father's face was a new shade of terrifying. The tall man was closing in, dripping with arrogance. But then, in one swift motion, the woman pointed her hand towards unbroken shadows. You have to choose, Alex. It's now or never. Your life depends on it. The tall man laughed again, a guttural sound. You really think he's going to choose you? He doesn't even know who you are. His words dripped with venom, echoing against Alex's growing dread. Enough, Alex shouted, heart racing. But before he could scream again, everything shifted. With a sudden blinding flash, the ground trembled violently beneath them, and Alex felt the world tip as a gaping hole opened up in the pavement. Shadows whirled, darkness swallowing them whole. Then, in the collapse, smoke and flames mixed with the screeching of metal. Every terrifying reality bled into the next. When the turmoil settled, he blinked in confusion. The woman was gone. Instead, standing in her place was Leo, alive, but different, rippling with an energy Alex couldn't comprehend. "I made a choice," Leo said, voice deeper, his eyes glowing with an unreal light. "What? How?" Alex stammered, stumbling back as if the ground beneath him had become unfathomable. But Leo smiled, a knowing grin that shattered everything. "You were never just an heir to your father's legacy. We are tied to a legacy of power and otherworldly vision, a lineage that goes far beyond money or crime." Time slowed. Each breath felt colossal. "What are you talking about?" But before Leo could explain, the night trembled once again, and images flickered before Alex's eyes, visions of untold realms, shadows turning to light, and lives intertwined in ways he had never seen. It's all connected, and with that, everything Alex knew splintered. The pieces of his world tangled, spinning in a cyclone of revelation. He felt his heart rate spike, knowing nothing would ever be the same. "Leo," he screamed, the name ripping from his throat like a final plea. "What's happening? Tell me." But as the void around them grew louder, the shadows leaned in. Secrets clawed at his mind, and everything spiraled towards chaos, leaving behind the haunting question: who was he really, in this game of shadows? Then, just as everything reached its breaking point, the ground beneath them erupted again. This time, not with flames or dust, but a blinding white light. In the center, amassing like a storm, was the unmistakable figure of his mother. Her form alive with energy. But she wasn't merely standing. She was transforming. "Alex," she called, voice radiating with both warmth and authority. "It's me. I've been waiting for you to awaken." Awaken? Confusion crashed over him like a set of waves. "Mom, where have you been?" "I was trapped," she said. Her words weaving through the whirlpool of Alex's confusion. Trapped in time, protecting the legacy. But now, with Leo awakened and the truth revealed, it's time to face your inheritance. His mind struggled to keep up. "Inheritance? What do you mean? I don't understand." And that's when it hit him, like a hammer striking a bell. Leo, he's... The weight of realization fell over his shoulders. A sudden, sharp clarity cut through the chaos. "He's your..." "Yes," she interrupted softly, but urgency colored her voice. "The truth is more complicated than you know. Leo is tied to our family, bond by blood, my blood." Alex's breath caught a lump forming in his throat. The ramifications rattled through him like thunder. "You're saying he's family?" "Yes, but it's deeper than that," she urged, clawing at her words. "There are more forces at play. Powers we can't control. You are the key to bridging two worlds, Alex. Will you finally embrace your role?" The declaration hung there, heavy, reverberating through the air like a warning bell. Everything changed again. "Leo," he shouted, turning, but Leo was gone, lost in the chaos. Panic surged through Alex as the light dimmed, shadows creeping back, hungry and cruel. In that heartbeat, he felt the world shifting and tearing apart once more. Now it was no longer just a game of shadows. Now it was a game of blood, and for the first time, Alex understood. The stakes were much higher than he ever anticipated. The twist of fate stretched beyond betrayal. It was about survival, lineage, and a future waiting to unleash its secrets. Would he step forward to claim his true legacy, or would the shadows swallow him whole? The chaos swirled around Alex like a storm, shadows stretching, twisting with intent. He looked between his mother and Katie, heart racing, disbelief pooling in his gut. There was still time, wasn't there? They could escape this nightmare together. "Mom, I don't understand," he shouted, panic creeping up his throat. The shadows were closing in, and the weight of truth crashed down like a tidal wave. But then the blinding light started to flicker, almost fading like a candle's flame caught in a draft. "Alex," his mother's voice pierced the noise. "You must..." Before she could finish, the vibrant light dimmed entirely, plunging them into darkness. The air thickened, a heavy shroud of dread cloaking them. A frantic heartbeat echoed in the silence, and for a moment, everything felt suspended. Then it happened. A tight, suffocating pulse rippled through the air, and from the shadows a figure emerged. It was Leo, but his expression was different, filled with a fierce intensity that sent shivers down Alex's spine. "You have to listen to me," Leo said, voice booming with an energy Alex had never heard before. "What? Leo? How?" But Leo interrupted, eyes brimming with urgency. "You must uncover the truth before it's too late." Without warning, the ground beneath them quaked. The very fabric of reality felt like it was tearing. And as if summoned by Leo's words, a bright, crackling energy shot out from him, illuminating the alley like a bolt of lightning. In that flash, Alex's mother convulsed as if struck. Her face twisted in agony, fear weaving into every feature. "No!" The scream tore from Alex's lips. But the energy surged, and with it, a long-buried secret whipped from the air like a wild wind. Suddenly, the shadows parted, and from deep within them emerged an unexpected figure, a woman, beautiful and terrible, with a face that haunted Alex's dreams. It was his mother, but not the one he knew. This version of his mother wore a sinister smile, dark eyes gleaming with secrets. "I've waited for this moment, for too long," the woman said, voice smooth like silk, but bitter like betrayal. "Who are you?" Alex stumbled back, confusion churning like a storm in his chest. "What do you
want? Don't you see?"
The woman laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the alley. "I am everything you've been searching for. I am your true mother, the one who was meant to protect this legacy. While she pointed to his mother, still trembling, was an obstacle." "No, this can't be true." Alex's heart raced, disbelief clawing at him. "You're lying." "I'm not," she continued, her voice weaving a spell. "You see, the truth is more dangerous than you can imagine. Your father, your mother, they've kept you blind so you wouldn't learn what it means to inherit this power." A flicker of recognition sparked in Alex's mind. The truth about what? But just as curiosity mingled with gut-wrenching fear, Leo stepped forward, a wall of protection. "Alex, don't listen
to her. She's using you."
The woman chuckled softly, as if Leo's warning was mere background noise. "You're not ready. None of you are. But it's too late," she said, her grin widening as shadows shifted around her, closing in on the moment. In that instant, everything Alex thought he understood shattered like glass. The very ground felt like it had fallen away beneath him. Unspeakable betrayal hung in the air, tightening around his heart. Suddenly, the walls of the alley shuddered ominously, and the world outside erupted into chaos. Sirens screamed closer, the tremors growing stronger. "Alex!" his mother screamed suddenly, grabbing at him, her eyes wide with terror. "You can't trust her. You're my son. You're meant for more." But the pull of the other woman's contradiction was tantalizing. Spinning a web he couldn't break free from. "What's happening?" he gasped, caught in the tension, and with that, the woman's laughter echoed through the darkened alley, a sound that chilled Alex to the bone. "Everything is about to change, dear son. Welcome to your true legacy." As the shadows surged forward, sweeping them all into darkness, the question echoed in Alex's mind. What truth would he uncover when the light returned? As the shadows descended, Alex blinked against the rapidly thickening darkness. The weight of his mother's presence felt like a lifeline, but the haunting smile of his true mother twisted reality around him. "Welcome to your true legacy," the woman cackled, her voice sharp and cruel. "No!" Alex screamed, instinctively moving closer to his mother, who looked frail, yet fiercely protective. "Get away from him!" she shouted, propelling Alex backward. The world warped again, flashes of light dancing in waves. "Alex, it's all true," his mother cried out, her voice strained. "You're meant for something greater." Greater? Alex's heart raced as he faced both women. "While you've kept secrets from me?" "Listen, you don't understand." His real mother stepped forward, the shadows tightening like a vice around them. "Your father betrayed our lineage, thinking he could bury our power. We are tied to forces you've only begun to understand." Power! It felt like his mind was cracking under the weight of it all. Power to do what? Destroy lives? Lie to me? Power to choose your destiny, she shot back, voice trembling, but beneath it lay desperation. You can, but... Suddenly, Leo broke his silence. A sudden surge of strength enveloped him, almost overwhelming. Alex, you have to wake up. This can't be your story. It's a trap. Stop, the dark woman yelled, furious. You're the pawn, Leo. He's my son. Your son who deserves to know the truth, Leo countered. The truth will save him from your destruction. In that moment, everything inside Alex shifted. Panic, fear, confusion. It morphed into something solid as realization struck. He had to choose. He glanced at his mother, steadying him with her gaze. Then he turned to Leo, echoing courage in their shared determination. No, the dark woman shrieked, lunging forward, shadows whirling around her. Together, Alex shouted, stretching out his hands toward Leo and his mother. The air crackled as an energy surged through them, colliding with the dark woman like a shockwave.
No, you can't!
The darkness split, revealing brilliant light flooding in, a purity that sliced through everything twisted and cruel. Light filled the alley with warmth, and with it came clarity. Alex felt the pulse of his mother's heart beside him. It beat fiercely, fiercely alive. We are more than just shadows, she proclaimed, merging with Leo's light. One final potent push against the lies. Then, everything exploded. The alley turned into a kaleidoscope of colors. Tears of light danced with shadows, swirling like a storm around them. As the brightness engulfed him, Alex felt pain slipping away, replaced with an overwhelming sense of purpose. He grasped tightly to the truth he chose, the truth about who he was meant to be. As the light faded, Alex found himself standing alone in an open field. Leo beside him, filled with life and energy. He turned to see his mother fade into the distance like the morning mist. You did it, Leo shouted, beaming with pride. The sky above was clear, bursting with possibilities. The conflict had passed. The shadows were gone. They were free. What happens now? Alex asked, grounded in the moment. Now we reclaim what's ours, together, Leo replied, determination echoing in his voice. And we make sure that the truth never dies again. Gratitude swelled in Alex's chest as he breathed in the fresh air. He had faced the storm, and now he was stepping into the light. But before they left the field behind, Alex turned back one last time. He could still feel the pulse of legacy echoing in his veins, a reminder of the battles fought and the power reborn. Let's go, he said, heart dancing with new hope. Together, they stepped towards the dawn of a new beginning, ready to create their own story. And as this chapter closed, the adventure continued. You have to subscribe right now. Don't miss any of the next exclusive stories that will blow your mind. Smash the like button right now. It feeds the algorithm and keeps this journey alive. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this incredible ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this ends. Your support means everything. Let's keep building this amazing community together.